Hello, hello, it's Jessica. Today I am going to talk to you about making puzzles. And there are actually a couple of different ways that you can do this. So I'm going to show you just what I've done so far in Design Space. I've been having some issues with my craft room today, so my machine is currently cutting out my puzzle, so I apologize if you can kind of hear my maker going crazy cutting this puzzle out in the background, but I don't have the finished product yet to show you, so I will post that later once it is done. However, I wanted to walk you through the Design Space aspect of it, and then I will have a tutorial up showing the full process later on, I thought we could at least go through this part because I know part of, at least half of the battle is figuring out how to use Design Space and getting it to do what you want. So I thought we'd go through that, and then I'll post the full tutorial later. So if you have any questions along the way, please go ahead and let me know. And then yeah, we can just get started. So we're going to make a puzzle, or I'm going to show you how to set it up to make a puzzle, and you can do it. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways. This is my finished product that I kind of already have set up, and this is what I have cutting in my machine right now. So I'm going to show you how to kind of get that set up this way, and then I'm going to show you a second way as well. So the first thing you want to do is you want to select a photo that you already have or something that you took, and you want to use a photo editing software to crop it into a square if you're going to do a square puzzle, or if you're going to do a rectangle puzzle, crop it into a rectangle. Whatever type of puzzle you want to do, that's the shape you want your image. If you go into images and search for puzzles, which we'll do in a second, you can see what different types of shapes are available in Design Space. But once you have your photo ready and you've got it, I just decided to do a square because that was easy, something simple. So I just went into PicMonkey, which is a photo editing software I use, and just chose the square option, and that just lets me crop into a square. So I did that, and then you hit upload. And you would hit upload image. I've already done this, so it's already here for me. Once it uploads, you just click on it and you hit insert images, and then it will insert onto your canvas, and it comes in pretty big. So you are going to want to resize it to make it smaller, and we'll adjust it to just the right size in just a minute, but I'm just going to move this off to the side for now. I'm going to hide my already finished puzzle. Oh, not that one, this one. I'm going to hide that for now just to get it out of the way. Okay, so then I have my image that I want to use ready to go. I now need to find a puzzle cut file, because as it is right now, this is just a print then cut image that's going to print out, but that's it. So if I want the puzzle pieces, I'm going to go to images, and I already have puzzle actually listed as a search item, but I also put in some filters. I only wanted free ones. I only wanted ones available in Cricut Access since I have a subscription. If you uncheck those, you will get more options, and some of them will be paid options. So if you don't like the puzzles that come up, some of these are just single pieces too, which unfortunately you just have to kind of scroll past. Like this one here, it's kind of a cool looking puzzle. It's $1.49. And then here's a square one. This one's 99 cents. Here's a circle. So you can find lots of different options. And here's one that's kind of the shape of an ice cream cone top, I think. But anyway, you can find lots of different options in here that, you know, are free or paid or whatever. I just prefer, since I have Cricut Access, I might as well take advantage of any that are free or part of my subscription. So then I went and I decided, since I was going to use a square image, I'm just going to pick this one here. Or if I wanted less pieces in my puzzle, I could do the 4x4 as well. But I'm going to do the this one here. Click on it, and hit insert. Now there are just a couple of things you're going to have to do to prepare this. So because what I'm going to do is called a print then cut, I can only do that up to a certain size. So I actually have to resize this. I'm going to unlock it here. And I want, sorry, no, I'm not going to unlock it. I want the width to be no more than 6.75 inches. So that's what I want my square to be. Because when you do print then cut, it can't be any bigger than that. Now, there are a couple of ways you can do a print then cut for this one. I have printable Cricut adhesive vinyl that I printed mine on, and then I attached it to some Cricut chipboard, and then had it cut out with the image on top of the chipboard, and that works out great. If you do not have printable adhesive vinyl, you could also print it on just plain white paper or on cardstock or anything that is white. It has to be a white background or the Cricut machine will not register the lines to be able to cut in the exact right spot. So it has to have a white background. So that's why I say you could do cardstock as long as it has a white background. But I have the printable adhesive vinyl, so I just use that. So all right, so now we need to prep this a little bit. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of all of this brown because we don't really want that. So I'm just going to hide that brown square, and that leaves just these cut lines. And the next thing I want to do, I actually for mine don't really want a border on it either. But before I get rid of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to move my picture in, and I'm going to try to get it right to the right size so that just fills that interior portion, because I don't want it to be in the wrong spot. So if I think I have it in the right spot, I'll just click everything, select all, and I'm going to hit align, and I'm just going to hit center, and that kind of makes sure that it's right in that square. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to select that 8x8 puzzle that I had put on my canvas, and I'm going to hit contour. And what I want to do is I want to go down to where I find these two boxes, and I want to click on them both until all of the brown disappears and all I have left are the puzzle pieces. And then you just hit the X, and now you can see that I have just the puzzle pieces on top of my photo. So those will be my cut lines. It will cut around the edge of the photo as well. And then my puzzle pieces. You can leave the border if you want, if you would like to have the Cricut cut out a border so that you have an edge that you will have for your puzzle. I just decided I didn't want that. So then again, I'm going to select all, and I'm going to attach. And then I can actually resize this whole thing if I want it bigger. This is a good size, 6 1/4, or I can make it all the way out to that 6.75 that I had put in before, so that it cuts kind of to the maximum size for the print then cut. So once you have your puzzle overlaid on top of your image and you've attached it, then all you need to do is hit make it. Now my machine is not actually set up to this particular computer. I have it running on my laptop right now, but this just gives you an idea of what it will look like. So it will print on a piece of paper, cardstock. I use the printable vinyl. It will print on there with your full image. It will not print these cut lines, but you can see them on the preview. It will only print your image, and it will print this black line around that. Those are the lines that your machine will read, so it knows exactly where to put those puzzle cut lines. Now, the other thing you can do, if I hit continue here, it's probably going to give me an error because I don't have my machine hooked up here. Yeah, see, no Cricut device found. The other thing you could do, I can send it to my printer though, is you can change the bleed. So for these, I just usually leave it off. The bleed just kind of adds a little extra around the edge, but don't really need it, so I leave it off. And then you hit print, and that will send it to your printer. So that is where you're going to have your white piece of cardstock or your printable adhesive vinyl or whatever you want to print on. It doesn't matter. You can use anything as long as, like I said, it has a white background so that your machine can read it. If you have a colored background, it's not going to read the little, whoops, come on, stay out there. Here, let's go back, cancel the cut. And I'll hit this again to get the preview. There we go. If you use a colored background, it's not going to read these black lines for whatever reason. I don't know why it can't. It just can't. So make sure whatever you're printing on has a white background. Now, if you use cardstock or just a regular piece of printer paper, you can use some Mod Podge and then attach it to like a piece of thicker material. I'm using the Cricut chipboard, or you could use, I know someone mentioned they wanted to use cereal boxes. They cut out the cereal boxes because it's a little thicker cardboard. You could take your piece of printer paper and attach it to that with some Mod Podge or whatever you want to use. And then the Cricut will read it because you've attached your white piece of paper on top of that other material. So that's how you get around you know, printing on things that are colored, is just by using a regular white 8.5 by 11 piece of printer paper for your print then cut image, and then attach it to something else by gluing it on or however you want to attach it. Okay, so that is method number one, is to use the print then cut and attach your printout to the material that you want to cut and then send it through the machine. All right, now I'm going to show you a second method. And this one I haven't yet cut out because I'm still cutting out the first one. But the second method is just to take a piece of photo paper. I happen to have 5 by 7 photo sheets that I can just print out in my printer, and just print on a piece of photo paper that you have, Mod Podge it to some you know, thicker material, whether you want to use some cardstock. Again, I'm using the Cricut craft board, the cereal boxes, whatever you want to put it on. You print out your photo on regular photo paper, Mod Podge it to that, and then you just go into Design Space and you select a puzzle image. And again, you just go into Images, search Puzzle. This time I picked one that was rectangular, and when you insert this one, it starts out as 4 by 5. So you can kind of see here. And to get it to this larger size, because my photo paper is 5 by 7, I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to put in the 7 and the 5. So that resizes it. And again, I don't want the interior brown, so I'm just going to hide that. And this time I decided to go ahead and leave the frame on, because it'll cut out the frame, it'll cut out the puzzle pieces, and then I will attach that all on top of, I'll attach the frame on top of another piece of craft board, and then the puzzle itself will be kind of like a framed puzzle. So anyway, you Mod Podge the photo paper to a piece of craft board or whatever material you want. You just pick out this frame. Now the only thing that you have to watch, I guess I don't need both of these on here, but is when you attach, so like I have a 12 by 12 piece of craft board. I just kind of have to make sure I line this piece up wherever I have my photo Mod Podged onto my craft board, so that it's cutting in the right spot. Otherwise, your puzzle pieces might be off a little bit. So then You could also use Snap Mat to get it exactly in the right spot. So if you had an iPhone or an iPad, you could use that. I have Android, so, well, I also have an iPhone, but I don't use it that often. So you could use Snap Mat to get this into the exact right spot for your puzzle. But you can pretty much just kind of eyeball, if you started at the corner of 1 inch in and 1 inch down for your puzzle, when you glue your puzzle onto your craft board, then you know exactly where to line it up and it should cut in the right spot. So this one's a little bit less precise, but you're not doing print then cut with this one like you are with the other one. Carlotta said, do you need a maker to make puzzles? It depends on the material. So if you are just cutting on some like cardstock or some cereal box cardboard or something that's not quite so thick, you can do it with an Explore and a deep cut blade. I have the 2mm Cricut craft board, which you need the knife blade for, so you would need a maker for that. I believe you can use the Cricut craft board that is a little bit thinner. It's like not even half of a millimeter, and you only need, I don't know if it's a deep cut blade or just the fine point blade for that. So then you would not need to use the maker in those cases. So it depends on the material you want to make the puzzle with. So thinner materials, you definitely do not need a maker. If you're going to do something thick like I'm doing, then you would for sure need a maker. You could also cut, if you have a maker and a knife blade, you could cut these out of wood like basswood or balsa wood and make them really sturdy. So the options are really, kind of unlimited. So that's kind of it. I mean, just getting it set up in Design Space is pretty much half the battle. Once mine finishes cutting, I will show you the finished product, which I'm cutting out this one right now. And then I will cut out my second one, which is the framed puzzle after that's done. But I'll show you the finished product, and I do have the rest of the tutorial I've kind of been taking some photos and videos as I've been going so that I can show you the whole process of, getting your material prepared and getting everything ready to go for when you are ready to cut. So you have all this done where you have your design ready, and then I walk you through the rest of it with the material and sending it through the machine. Okay, so if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know, and just leave a comment and I'll try to get back to you with an answer as soon as I can. If you're looking for materials, I will put a link in the description or comments so you can see what materials I'm using if you're interested in those. And that's about it. So thanks for watching.